Hey guys, this is the Baron back again, bringing you another Titanfall concept video. Just before I start, I just want to say I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends. That's the reason why I'm making this video, is because it's set in the Titanfall, obviously the Titanfall universe, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. I never usually play Battle Royales, but Apex Predators is absolutely such a fun game. Even when you lose, you're having so much fun, and it's great that the same mechanics and the same weapons, for the most part, are present in Apex Legends. Now, because of Apex Legends, I've been thinking about Titanfall 3 and how we might get a game because of Apex Legends and the success of that game. I believe that Titanfall has been one of the most received shooters for the FPS gaming world. Even though it didn't do very well in sales, it's still a very, very good FPS shooter. Unfortunately, the series has suffered because of the poor reception by players due to EA's inability to keep customers loyal with microtransactions and push release dates on unfinished games, so on and so forth. Titanfall fell well on the radar with these things, as Respawn was surprisingly given almost full creative control over the Titanfall project. We didn't get many microtransactions with the game, just for skins, stuff like that. It doesn't affect the gameplay whatsoever, which is really, really great. The first Titanfall, of course, had a multiplayer campaign which does address the lore and the story of the Titanfall universe, though in my opinion was done in a poor fashion and didn't get the players interested at all. Come the second installment of Titanfall 2, and the gameplay has improved immensely as requested by the masses, and in more in-depth single-player campaign. Character development seemed to be one of the priorities for the team. It really shows with almost all the characters, and I do say almost. Apex Predators were great, the militia forces were also great, and it showed diversity in their respective combative areas. The only character I didn't seem to like was the main character, Jack Cooper. I thought he was basically just a hollow shell that the player can project onto, to be the hero basically. There are some good traits about him. He can be cheeky and crack jokes when faced with adversity.
Go on. Tell your Titan to open up.
About what? His feelings?
Still trying to be a hero, eh?
But other than that, he seems to be by the book, fight for freedom type of guy. Now, I'm fully aware that Jack Cooper has a defined backstory, though it seems to have a really basic arc, which annoys the hell out of me. So take what I say with a grain of salt, suspend your disbelief, try and stretch the truth if you can, for the sake of a better story, because that's what I'm going to be talking about today, mainly Jack Cooper. Now, Roanoke Gaming posted a little video a while ago reviewing pilot lore, regen, and augmentations. And I remember reading in the comments section that Jack Cooper seemed to have too much potential for a typical militia grunt, which is fine. No big deal. Some grunts have what it takes to be a pilot. That's how you work your way up through the ranks. Though thinking back to one of the missions, it's also noted by Cooper that he doesn't actually remember the Fracture operation, one of the key battles of the Frontier in the first game.
Scans indicate a fallen pilot. My memory recalls this pilot as an exceptional fighter, proven well during the Fracture operation.
What's Fracture?
Fracture was the code name of a major combat refueling operation conducted by the militia on the planet Victor. We sustained many casualties, but the fleet survived.
Damn.
This is quite odd to me, and it offers a huge plot device for Jack Cooper, offering several explanations as to why he's already a good pilot. Cooper actually took part in the raid, however suffered a major head injury, leading to partial memory loss. This could play into his character development and offer a huge twist in the game in my opinion. So a concept that I decided to pursue for Jack Cooper was quite simple. Cooper could have been a former pilot / grunt for the IMC turned militia. His loss of memory could have been from two sources: a voluntary regen, going back to Roanoke's video about pilot regen, or from an involuntary combat experience, such as sustaining a head injury, which again perfectly fits his battle of Fracture. Personally, the latter of the two sounds much more interesting, as it sets up a story arc for the character, making him much more fascinating, which would later set up personal and political problems to overcome in the future Titanfall 3 campaign. So when I say political, for instance, some militia may not be able to follow a pilot who was actively evolved against them in the past, regardless of what he's done. Cooper may have been more than capable and feared pilot by the militia forces, hence the reason why the militia, at least those who knew his past, may have been hesitant to train Cooper and essentially turn him to their cause, as they feared he might remember his past as an IMC pilot. It sets up a huge twist. The third Titanfall game could address his past in a more serious manner, creates conflicts between the militia and the IMC, and even force Cooper to join the Apex Predators, which he is offered to by Blisk at the end of Titanfall 2. I'll come back to that in a second. Overall, I just needed more of a reason to play Jack Cooper, and I feel giving him a better pass would be the better way to engage the players in a vivid story. That is if they keep Jack Cooper as a main character. Now, I also want to address something in my last video that I touched on, and that is the campaign basically following a different character or different characters and their separate events. A game that does this relatively well is actually the Call of Duty series. The separate events that unfold for each character on each mission all ultimately lead to one situation unfolding, so the overall plot unfolding. Titanfall would benefit immensely from this as it provides a much more in-depth look to all sides of the story and a further look into the Titanfall universe. So why not play as Sarah Briggs commanding the elite squad of SRS to storm a flagship? Why not follow someone from the 6-4 on one of their freelance missions? And more interestingly, one of the Apex Predators showing off both sides of the battle, each faction and how they operate. This could really tie in well with Jack Cooper, as I mentioned before. At the end of the campaign, Bliss decides to not kill Cooper.
It's your lucky day, hero. I'm not going to kill you. I don't work for free. But you don't get to kill me either. Yeah, you earned this, eh?
Listen, that Vanguard-class Titan is still in there.
Not my problem, Marta. Should have put it in my contract. I've got other people with money to see.
What are you doing? What do you think you are doing?
This could be interpreted in a few ways. Bliss may come to respect Cooper as an adept pilot, or is even looking to use him in future ventures, bringing him under his banner, since of course Cooper killed his whole team. It could also be simply because he wasn't paid to kill Cooper by General Marta, as it didn't fall under his contract. I find the rise and fall of heroes interesting, but I find the fall of heroes even more so. Cooper could be influenced by Bliss to take the low road in what seems to be a never-ending battle for resources. As long as there's money, people won't stop fighting for it. Cuban Bliss to me is a very charismatic character, and in a certain sense that he's cool, calm and collected, even in the heat of battle. He values what most people do, which is money, and would rather see others suffer than himself, and he cares a little about the outcome of his colleagues and the troops around him, so long as he completes his objectives and gets paid, basically. That's why I find Bliss one of the key characters of the Titanfall series, and I believe he has a lot of potential to be included in future story plots and twists. Should the devs then change the side of the story from the militia to the IMC? Absolutely, I think they should. The IMC have so many organizations to choose from that the player can follow, and it also gives an insight into their reasoning and decisions. Of course it is money, but there could be something a bit more outlying and a bit more interesting to play around with. Could there be sympathizers with the IMC or the militia? If so, that would change the dynamic of the story as a whole and create interesting plot devices to the characters as well. One last thing I want to touch on is the Titans. The Titans aren't really getting a lot of love in the story, even though it is, Titanfall. The only exception is, of course, BT. Titans are just machinery, however, seeing the characters such as Sarah Briggs and Bliss engage in conversation with their Titans could develop their character and their Titans a bit further. Again, characters can go the opposite way, with Bliss being so rich that he has multiple Titans at his disposal, therefore not developing a relationship with any of them. Something to consider. Anyways guys, that's it. I'll be probably making a bit more concept videos if you guys are interested in this, and hopefully we get to see a Titanfall 3 game coming soon with the more of the interest focused on Apex Legends, and now that Titanfall 2 as well has had an increase in players as well due to Apex Legends, which is great. It's amazing that that's happened. I think the Titanfall series deserves a lot more love because I feel it's a very underrated game that no one really knows about. If you want to see more of this, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.